Welcome to the Catch Up with Claire. I'm your host, Claire Hoon, and every week we hand the mic to women who are showing up, speaking out, and figuring it out in real time. Because when women start talking, no topic is off limits. Careers, identity shifts, friendships, family dynamics, breakups, big dreams, bigger feelings, and yes, motherhood too. Think of it like calling your best friend on the landline in 1999. Lighthearted, unfiltered, and somehow deeper than you expected. Whether you're raising your kids, raising standards, or raising hell, this space is for you. So settle in. It's time to catch up. Welcome to the Catch Up with Claire. I'm your host, Claire Hoon, and today we are catching up with Sheila. Sheila is a new empty nester, mom of two. She is a runner. She just put out her book, Miles of Motherhood, and we chat all about it. We chat motherhood, we chat running, we chat the parallels between the two and what excites us about both. I was connected with Sheila through a mutual friend. We had such an incredible conversation. You've heard me say this before. I love a peek ahead, and that is exactly what Sheila gives us. I know many of our listeners are new moms, are first-time moms, or are still contemplating if motherhood is a journey that they want at all. So much of what Sheila talks about, we can take from how she navigated the early days of motherhood, finding purpose in the work that she was doing as a mom, and how running has filled her cup in between all of those different phases. I love chatting with Sheila, and I hope you enjoy this conversation. Sheila, welcome to the Catch Up with Claire.
Good morning, Claire. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be a part of your show.
I am so excited to be having this conversation. We were connected through a mutual friend, someone I used to work with, someone who is your neighbor. And I got the most excited DM a couple weeks ago that you have to meet Sheila. You have so much in common, and it's going to be a great conversation. So this is giving
That
me
sounds
a boost of caffeine this morning.
good. And when we should give her a little shout out for her a little plug. She's an accomplished author with a book called, what is it called? The Sparkle and the SH Blink Blink Show,
You say it.
where she details her journey through cancer. And it's such a wonderful, transparent, but super, super funny cancer book. So even if you haven't been touched by cancer in yourself or your family, I highly recommend it. It's just a wonderful, inspiring book, and she's doing a lot of wonderful things for the world. So hopefully
That is a
she can.
perfect commercial because I have been trying to get Amanda. Amanda Duggar is the author and our mutual friend, and I've been trying to get her on the show. So maybe
She
this will be the commercial we
This will be
need to
the
have
yeah.
her do a full episode.
She'll be great, and people will love her.
It's so true. Well, regardless, I'm so glad that she connected us. As I understand, we have quite a bit in common and also in very different phases. So I am a working mom of three. I'm a runner. I know you are a mom in a different phase, also a runner, have just written, no, I think I got that wrong. You have just published a book that you wrote many years ago.
Correct.
Sheila, I could keep going what I think I know this conversation is going to be about, but can you introduce yourself in your own words for our audience?
Okay. So I am an empty nester of two, married. I was trying to think, how many years are we married? We're married, I think it's 27 this year. I've been a runner for 43 years. I spent my professional years in higher education. I did at college admissions, career counseling, academic advising, things like that. Great jobs, but when it came time to deciding if I would work or stay home, when you weigh how much I was making, it wouldn't match. So it was an easy decision for me to be a stay-at-home mom. And then I proceeded to be room mom 8 times in a row. And of course, be at the library and paint the sets for the show and organize all of the picnics, all of the stuff. It was so much fun. It was a blast. And then in between there, I would be running marathons or just helping neighbors and doing stuff at church, and kind of the same now.
I hear that you left your professional work life when you became a mom, but what I heard after that was that it sounds like you were doing even more work once you became a mom and full time. I have never been class parent because I know how much
It's
responsibility
so
comes with that. You said you did it for 8
eight,
years.
8 years in a
Plus
row.
running, that is absolutely cuckoo bananas to me. That is a full-time job on top of a full-time job of being a mother.
So that was the cool, and then agreed. It was, yes, to go back to your first point, I definitely felt like busier as a mom, especially as they started getting into those preschool years. Plus, I'm a schedule nut. I love a schedule, and we could talk about schedules and how I coped through COVID and that sort of thing. And just those early years of motherhood when you're kind of on your own. I just relied on the schedule. But I thought, yeah, I want to be involved in their life. And selfishly, the reason I became involved in their schools was more so I could think, well, if I want to go back to work, I need some transferable skills on here. Oh, organizing people, organizing events, da, 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 whatever it was, making copies. So I thought I was being selfish doing this. Like, I'm going to still have things to put on a resume. But it ended up being so much fun and such a gift of time. But yes, it was a ton of time. And the cool thing was the working moms that couldn't do what I was doing. They so appreciated what us room moms were doing. They're like, look, they were always so grateful. Like, whatever, don't worry about it. We got it. We love your kids, and you get to know all the kids and their parents. It was great. And that's how it all works. Not everybody has to be a room mom, and not everybody has to be CEO. If everyone's doing what they're good at, it all gets done.
I so appreciate how you said that because I'm in the phase of being in that right now. We all want to be involved in our kids' lives day to day, and I think our capacity and ability to do so differs for every family and every family's situation.
Agreed.
As I said, I just don't have the capacity to be a room parent, but I love that they organize. We have what's called Family Friday. So once a month on Fridays, we get to go into our kids' classrooms, and that class parent helps organize that and facilitate it, and then also different, things for the teachers, Teacher Appreciation Week, all of
Yes,
that.
all of it.
And so I'm so appreciative that they summarize and succinctly delve out the information. I also appreciate the way that you said that, wanting to maintain your skills. And I think that's something that so many moms, especially now and in our generation, think about of the reality is like financially two incomes most of the time is necessary. And I've been reading a lot lately about this concept called the power pause. Rauch. I might have butchered her name up, but I'll put it in the show notes. Wrote a book recently about taking a like we have thought traditionally about motherhood being this binary of either you're a stay-at-home mom or you're a working mom. And once you become a mom, you have to choose and you have to choose one path, and that's the path that you have to be on. But like you said, there is this option that we don't really talk about of you can choose and then you can choose to switch and then you can choose to switch again. And her whole book was about calling it the power pause of intentionally taking time off and planning to taking time out of the traditional 9 to 5 work when your kids are young. And then going back when you have the capacity or your kids get to school age when you have more childcare and you're out of the cost of daycare and it's so expensive, and that it makes a little bit more sense. But hearing you say, even back then, being involved with the various committees and being involved in the school setting and event planning and putting this all together, these are highly marketable skills. Was there ever a point in time when, your kids were a little bit older and into more, full-time school that you thought about, oh, maybe I'll go back now? Or what I'm hearing though is also you were so busy and got so involved that you just kept going with it.
Well, definitely the answer is an easy no, because when we moved to Florida away from our family, I was plan A, B, and C. So we didn't have
Mhm.
family in town. So if somebody got sick, I'm it. Husband's out of town most days, and especially pre-COVID in their younger years. And then it did just kind of get to a point of we got into our life the way we had things running around here. I think that if I had tried to take 40 hours a week out of here, it would have affected everybody. They were so used to what I could do and provide. I don't think it would have worked well. And our oldest daughter played travel hockey. So that takes a
Mhm.
schedule and it tosses it up in the air and you don't know where it's going. In fact, I was on a really fun running committee here for 4 years and I finally said, I have to drop this because our son was home alone way too much because of hockey. And I just said, it's got to go. So yeah.
Something's
So
gotta give.
it just didn't really work, and that's okay.
I
I'm
had
fine.
I had a coworker before I had kids, and his wife had just had their 3rd baby and decided after their 3rd that she was going to be at home full time and take care of the family. And I remember him saying to me, I wish there was a way that the workplace would come up with a 10 to 3. Like, we don't need a 9 to 5, but we need a mom 10 to 3. And I didn't have kids yet and I wasn't even pregnant. I was like, yeah, it sounds like nice half-time job. Like, not
Right.
even thinking. I had no idea. And as soon as I became a mom, and then as soon as my kids went to school, and I figured out that school starts at 8:30, work starts at 9, I have a commute in between there, and also I've been getting kids ready all morning, and then school gets out at 2:30. What do you mean
It's
school gets out at 2:30?
it's
Work
not a
goes
lot of
until
time.
5. And so I
It's
got
not
it,
a
and I was like, "He was really onto something." I wanna bring back this idea of how can we support working parenthood from 10
yeah.
to 2, 10 to 3, and I think it's called
I think
part-time work,
this
but
post-COVID world, I think these people have a chance to be able to accomplish that. Because once everything went remote and we saw kids finishing school online, college online, our husbands were home working online, everybody was home, 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 home. I even did a yoga certification online during
wow.
COVID. You could do anything online now. And so I think this generation will actually have that opportunity because, and I did have some friends that went back to work once the kids were a little bit older and they're having a great time. They're fulfilling their dreams and feeling that sense of accomplishment, which I think we all have. And especially those of us that love that need to be productive. That's kind of my other thing with volunteering at school, not only selfishly to keep some skills, but growing up, my parents were divorced, so we didn't have a ton of money, to say the least. So I was working since I was 11, whether it was delivering papers or babysitting. I cleaned apartments after people moved out of them before the next people moved in. So I was accustomed to always working and being productive. That's kind of like built in. So that definitely helps being able to have a place at school where they give you the space and the opportunity to fill that need to be productive and contribute something to the world.
Entirely. There's this, like, productivity need to do something, and just I think the value of work, whether I think it's hard when there's so much unpaid work, all of the volunteer work you said you did for 8 years in a row, raising 2 children and having them in school now. It's devalued when and it shouldn't be because it's the most important work.
Right. When there's not a dollar sign attached,
When there's not a
agreed, it's
dollar
not
sign to
as
it.
valued, but it is valuable. And like you said, I think we set examples of, when we're doing things outside of ourselves, whether it's in the community, the school, whatever, or for the neighbor down the street, it does set those values.
I'm curious, Sheila, how motherhood has changed for you knowing that you're now an empty nester. Are both of your 2 still in college? Are they graduated or where are they now?
So this is great. It's some of your episodes, the women are talking about that identity shift when you have a baby. So I'm going to go backwards before I answer your actual question. I remember I wasn't the type that was like dying to be a mom. Like I played with dolls and Barbies and all that, but I was never like, I can't wait to be a mom. It was really my husband that said, "Are we ever going to do this?" I'm like, ah! Because once you have a baby, you have a baby all the time. Like that's it. So I just kept like, and I remember we were at the episode I was just talking about listening to, it was with the Pitocin, with having to be induced. She was a week late and I had those bumps. What's that stuff called? PUPPP. Oh, it's an
We don't
itchy
know.
rash over your entire body.
Oh,
It's horrible.
yes.
I sat in the tub or the pool for like 2 weeks. So I'm like, yes, induced. Let's get this thing out of me. But I remember driving to the hospital the morning of my inducement, just having full blown panic attack. Like when you're so accustomed to working and being productive, I thought, well, who am I going to be now? Like I was like, are we sure we want to, it's too late. The baby's coming in a few hours. And after that, like once I got through the panic attack, we get home, I just decided to kind of take those old habits and I found a mom's group and I don't know what else I did, but we had a little schedule and that absolutely helped me feel like I had connection in the world and something to do, something on the calendar, whether it was one thing a day, there had to be a little mile marker just for me to feel like I was somewhat in control. We love that illusion of control, right?
Totally.
So as they went into school and I did all the volunteering stuff at school, I had kind of set myself up for empty nesterhood more than I thought. Don't get me wrong, when my daughter left, I cried for a month. We were very close, and that summer before she left, we watched every episode of Gilmore Girls. We were having lunch, we were shopping for the dorm, like, and then your best friend leaves, so you just cry every day. But I was set up better than I thought because I'm in some stuff at church, I do some volunteering. I joined a community chorus, which is so much fun. It's the time of my life. And then I had this book that you had mentioned that I had written 10 years ago, and I thought, you know what? This is it. I have to get this off of my list. So while I absolutely missed them and I had fun with the process of it all, it did give me time, and I thought I was gonna have all this free time after the second one left. No, you end up getting busier. I was so
Mhm.
busy last fall with travel and the book stuff and just a million things. So that it navigating that transition was very similar to right after they were born because you're changing again. They're changing, they're moving on, and guess what? Whether you whether or not you like it, you're changing too. So they are both, this is crazy, at the same school. We never saw this coming. Our daughter, like I mentioned, she's a hockey player. We thought for sure she'd be up near you, somewhere in the Northeast, like Boston, right? Playing hockey in Connecticut. Nope. She decided at the end of school, she said, I think I want to do something different. I've been playing hockey since I was 6. I think I want to go to like the big SEC school experience, do the sorority
Mhm.
thing, do all, just live a different life. We're like, okay. So she chose her school. And then he came for parents weekend when he was so if she was a freshman, that would have made him a sophomore, junior in high school. They're 2 years apart. And he's looking around at this tailgate and he's like, this is pretty fun. So, and we made him tour some other schools, but basically he said, "Yeah, I'm going there." And he did say on the drive up with his stuff to the dorm, he said, "It was absolutely a factor that my sister was here that I wanted to come too." Like, I think that they wanted to, and she kept voting for it too. She's like, "I hope you come here. I hope you come here." So it's great. So they had their first year together at college last year, and they love it.
That is one, I think, a testament to several things. Raising 2 kids who are so close and want to be close to each other, but then also, what a gift for you having to only visit one school and getting to see them both very differently. I'm one of 3. We went to 3 separate schools. 2 of us overlapped at the same time just for 1 year. So, like, my younger sister is, 3 years younger, so my senior year, she was a freshman, but I was in New Orleans, she was in Dallas, and we would then get competitive with my mom of who was coming to visit, like, "Well, what do you mean she's at parents' weekend with you? I wanna be there, and why are you not?" Like, it was this whole back and forth, and so then I had moved to New York City when she was still in college, and she moved up here, she's in Brooklyn after she graduated college. So now, our other sister is in San Francisco in California. So growing up in the Midwest, my mom jokes, she's like, "We did such a good job. We drove our daughters to the furthest points on opposite sides of the
Right?
country of each other." That
Good. That's incredible.
hear you saying, though, the identity piece and transition. I remember my mom, and she still says this all the time and still gets teary-eyed when she says it, that dropping me off at college was the worst day of her life. They dropped me off, pull out of the dorm, and so I went to Loyola New Orleans. She also went to Loyola New Orleans, and so I think she had a degree of comfort knowing what I was gonna experience and the impact going to New
Oh,
Orleans and Loyola particularly had on her life and just her
okay.
lifelong friendship. So I think there was definitely that excitement for me, but realizing that the excitement had to come in direct parallel with extreme heartbreak and grief
Yeah.
for her
Yep.
of this is what she wanted. She said, "We have to go to school outside of the state of Missouri. We have to have a different experience. We can always come back." I think she wish we had come back.
Right. Of course. Of course. You
But
want our baby in the net.
as any mom does, but I think it's that, like, duality that you don't realize that you're raising this independent person from the time you meet your baby. I'm gonna butcher it, but I read this quote the other day that from the time you become a mom, it's a long lesson in it's the longest goodbye, basically,
Oh,
from
yeah.
once your baby is born because your job as a parent and a mom is to pour into them and feed them so that they can blossom alone and outside of you and independently, and you want them to always come back, but you also want them to spread their wings. And even at my oldest is in second grade right now, and then my daughter is in pre-K, and then we have a 1-year old. And a couple of nights ago, my husband was, we always just sort of ask the questions and see what they know about and what they're thinking. And she was like, well, she's asking because she goes to a new school next year. She's like, am I going to college next year? And we're like, no, you have a long time for college. And she was like, when do I go to college? And we're telling her the steps. And so like we're in college. She's like, and we're like, where are you going to live after you go to college? And she's like, well, with you.
Oh,
As if like
fun.
she doesn't get, and we're like, you're right. You're coming home, baby. Knowing that she's probably not going to want that
They
15 years
probably
from
don't
now.
want it, but if they could save a few dollars for a year or so, I'm fine with it.
Fair, fair. So I hear you having this experience living it right now and also feeling even more busy with them out because you just always fill the void and we always fill the space. What has it been like? So you have your daughter and now your son both in school together. Talk to us about how you've set yourself up from success. Again, I hear early days as a new mom for the first time, setting a schedule. Also, like what an incredible foresight. As you've listened, I didn't have any of that and that level of awareness. But I think taking those skill sets that you did have of putting a schedule out there, making sure we had something to go to, making sure we were, accomplishing these little tasks to collect these little wins. How have you pivoted that into the empty nest period?
The exact same, except this time I get to have a whole lot more fun because now I think we had dropped our son off. And just to go back, yes, it's convenient having them at the same school, but the win is that they're together. That to me
Mhm.
is like you have 2 more years of a shared experience before you go off and live your lives. That's what I've been saying to everyone. Like we didn't see it coming. They're it's just amazing. But it's very similar because I had some things already set in my schedule. I'm always training for a race. It's always there. Getting more into golf, although I've been too busy to golf. I haven't golfed since like November.
It's a
But
long
now we get
sport
to have fun.
too.
So we dropped our son off at the same school where our daughter was, and it was hard. It was a little easier for him only because he was a little more independent than our daughter was. He was kind of always gone with his friends, where she was more of like, ours and hockey. We were like always together because of hockey. So it was better, but I still for a month probably looked at the watch and said, "Oh, it's 4 o'clock. He'll be home soon." No, he's not. Like, and then it gets so quiet, the quietest, miserable. But so we drop him off, and they're in Alabama. They're both in Alabama. So we thought, you know what? Let's stop at Rosemary Beach. So we had our first little vacation as soon as we dropped off our second child. Drop it at, stop at a beach on the way home. And then shortly after, we had a trip, kind of a work trip for him. But I'm like, I can go. I don't have to ask
Right.
permission to leave the house anymore. This is awesome. And even seeing my parents who are aging, they're having health issues. It's kind of like, oh, I can get on a plane and go visit my mom or go visit my dad. So it's given me a freedom that I haven't had in a very long time. Like I said, we didn't have a whole lot of help here. When we had a few trips, like his work trips, those were the things that we would like get his mom or his brother, get someone to kind of watch the kids for 2 or 3 nights just so we could go to something that was important for his career. And it was great. They were always fun trips, but it was always like with a purpose because we didn't want to
Mhm.
abuse that privilege. So having this freedom to say, oh, I can go to dinner with my friends tonight. I don't have to go home and cook dinner. This is fabulous. So it's sad, believe me, as I'm laughing, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of fun to be had.
I mean, I think that's exactly how you have to look at it. And as we're saying before recording, I love a peek ahead at what's coming next, and I don't feel like I had that because when I got pregnant at 25, it was a surprise and I wasn't
I remember you
prepared
saying,
for what was to come. And I was the first one of all of my friends to go through it. And so for years now, they've seen me become a new mom, become a mom of multiples, figure out working and all of the things. And so, like, I think having these examples of what to look forward to and that it's going to be hard. Of course it is. We're launching our kids into what they've been in our houses for how many years. And I see nothing but a glowing smile and laughter and
yeah.
finding fun in it, finding some freedom.
Yes, the freedom was the key for sure.
Sheila, I have been holding back. I want to geek out with you about running because
Yeah.
I know where do you even start? I feel like we need to just like rattle off where you are in your running journey, where I am in mine, and then we're gonna talk races and how we got it, all of it. We're just gonna unpack all of it
All right,
because
you go first. I'll let
this
you
is
go
gonna be
first
fun.
because the warning is if someone asks me about running, you better tell me when to shut it off. So you go
We're just
first.
gonna keep going. We're not gonna run out of things to say here. Okay, so I have been a runner my whole life. I did my first 5K when I was 10 years old, and I think I just liked that it was just me. Like I'd played soccer growing up, and you needed a ball, you needed cleats, you needed shin guards, but that's the bare minimum. You needed a team. You had to be reliant on like other people to play the game. I loved that running was something I could just do and I could control. So I stopped playing soccer in high school. I pivoted and ran track. And then my high school, she was the health teacher at my school who was also the track and cross country coach. And when I had her in class, she was preparing to run the New York City Marathon. I lived in St. Louis. And so like the whole fall of her class, she was training and talking to us about it. And she also had, I don't know, her baby was she'd had a baby the previous school year, so not yet one, but she was a new mom training for a marathon, and, like, I lived in Missouri, so, like, going to New York to, like, do anything was a big city, and she came back and told us about the race and everything, and from that moment, it became this bucket list for me of, "I have to do this one day." And as soon as I turned 18, I started applying, and this was back in, I don't know, 2007?
Okay.
So before
Yeah.
6 maybe? I can't do math right now. Before the boom that we're having in running now, like, I was 17 years old doing the math, like, I'll be 18 when this race happens, so I'll be allowed to get in. And I remember my freshman year of college being in my intro to psych class when the lottery opened and, like, logging on right away trying to get in. I never got in through the lottery. I ended up my first time running it, I did it through a charity, Team for Kids. But before I did that, I wanted to just start doing the race, running a marathon. So I did the Disney Marathon. That was my first.
Mine too.
Oh my gosh. I felt like, I don't know. I don't know. I was just like, this is accessible. It was in college, so it was over school break. And
Yep.
the first
Yep.
year I did it was the full marathon. And then I figured out all the things around it. So they have the Goofy Challenge, which was the half on Saturday and then the full on Sunday. So the second year I did that. And then that's when I did the fundraising for New York. So my third marathon was New York City.
Goodness. Do
I
you
would
remember
never do that.
what year you ran yours? Your Disney?
Okay, let's think about it. The first one
Had to be before.
tw it was either 2011 or 2012. I think it must have been it was January of 2012 because it was right before I went to study abroad.
Was it the cold year? There was a really cold
Very
year.
hot.
I think the
No, it
year
was
after it
so
was
hot.
so incredibly cold. But anyway, but it's a great first marathon, really, for people who especially are a little nervous about running a marathon. It is a great first marathon because there's a lot of entertainment and it's, not, it's low pressure, all of that. But now it's just like any of these races, you can't even get in there. It used to be just sign up in November for the Disney Marathon. Forget that.
It's
Those days
crazy.
are long gone.
Like, I did Chicago in 2014, and you could just
Okay.
sign up. You could
Right.
just sign up. There
Yeah.
was just a period until it sold out, which I don't
Mhm.
even know if
It
it did. You just go online and put your name in and click buy, and you could just do
And then
that.
it all changed. It all changed. I ran Chicago in 2013, and that
Okay.
was so much fun. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. And then New York I did in 2014, and I did get in through the lottery, but back then, and I think it's changed now, so don't anyone listening get your hopes up. If you applied 3 years in a row and got rejected from the lottery 3 years in a row, you automatically got your spot the fourth year. So I don't think they do that anymore.
They don't do that anymore, and that's what I was banking on, and I got impatient. I was like, "Making me wait 3 years? Come
Yep.
on."
Yep.
So I applied 2 years, and after the second denial, well, not denial, but the non-lottery win, I did the fundraising route, and I've now done it 5 times. I've done 13 total marathons. New York was it my s I think it was my 2nd New York. It was either my 2nd or my 3rd was 2 days later, I found out I was pregnant with my first. I again, it wasn't planned. I was not just I was 8 weeks pregnant, and I
And you weren't, like, extra tired, like but then you would chalk it up to marathon training. You're always tired at that point, right? It wouldn't have
I luck I had no sickness. I will tell the story here. Was so convinced because I joined so New York Roadrunners has a group training program, and I was like, "I just wanna get back." I had just finished graduate school the spring before, and I didn't have time to run because I was working full time and in school full time. So I had taken, like, 18 months off of running other than, like, here and there, but no races really. I had done my 9+1, so if you live in New York, you can run
Yes.
9 of their races throughout the year, so I'd done the smaller races to get into the marathon, and so I was like, "I really wanna take this seriously." I did the group training, I was like, "This is gonna be a great race," and a week out, I was like, "I need to get my period now so that I don't have it on race day," like, that would be the
Right?
worst,
Speaking
and so, like, I was, like, saying this out loud, I'm like, "The more I say it, I will come." I was like, "Let me sync with other girls who have their periods right now," like, I was, like, to the point, Sheila, I sent my husband around the course with tampons in a backpack because I was like, it is going to come during the race. Like, this is my luck. It's been so long and I'm ready to have a great race. And so, bless the man, he did. Like, at every stop, he was like, "Do you need anything?" I'm like, "No, I'm good." And like every time I was just like expecting it to come. 2 days later, and it was like very late.
Yeah.
And I had all these girlfriends coming in town for a girls' weekend. My friend didn't know, but she was getting engaged, and I was
Oh,
like,
yes.
"We're gonna be drinking a lot. I'm definitely not pregnant, but, like, I should just take a test to make sure I'm not." And then, lo and behold,
There you go. There's your finish line prize.
their finish line. Yep, yep, lots of medals. So that was the first time I ran it pregnant, and then I did it after I had the baby, and then again after my second baby, and then I ran it 17 weeks pregnant in my 3rd pregnancy.
Goodness. That's
I love that
amazing.
race.
It was amazing. Did you run the 2014 year with
I
the
didn't
wind?
run 2014. I did it was 2013, and then I think the next time I did it was 2017.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that was the 2014, we had the wind. It was 35-mile-an-hour wind.
Yes,
It was
yes.
crazy. I had to change
2014
my hat a couple of times.
2014 is when I did Chicago,
Okay.
which
Oh, so
was
we're
a really
we're
hot
right
year for
there. We're
Chicago. Yeah,
stair-stepping.
we're tracking. Okay, how many of the majors have you done?
I have officially done 4 now. So I
Okay.
just did London, like, about a month ago. And I've done Boston twice, which is if you wanna talk about running nerd heaven, that's the weekend. And then New York and Chicago. We're talking about Berlin, but then I'm like, "I don't know that I wanna go to Tokyo. I don't wanna be in the air that long."
I
So, I
okay,
don't know.
here's where we'll bring it to, like, present day. I've done New York, Chicago, Berlin, London.
Okay.
I love London,
It
and
was
as a New Yorker, you're not supposed to say that you love a marathon more than New York, which I don't. I love New York because it is our hometown race.
yes.
I love London. You just did it a month ago.
I did it a month ago. So here's where I'm curious to know, did you love London, the city, or the race itself?
Go the race. I love London anyway. I've been several times, and I used to go a lot for work, so I'm familiar with the city. I had a friend who did it a month ago also. I you just once you run New York, it's really hard to top it
Yeah,
because we show up. Like, we
yeah.
show up as true New Yorkers on the first Sunday of November to cheer everyone. The whole city comes out, like, it's such a party atmosphere, and everyone is so excited. It just feels like New York energy, and I wasn't expecting that from the Brits.
See, I totally was. I was expecting all of the fanfare. So I loved the city. I thought it was super clean. And this was the first time I've flown overseas since our honeymoon because, again, I had nowhere to put the kids.
Kids, yeah.
So, like, oh, I'm flying over the ocean. So I loved the city, loved the food. The people were so nice. It was super clean, lovely, loved it. Personally, in my humble opinion, it's way too crowded. Like in New York,
Yeah.
you have that many people, but the streets are much wider.
Mhm.
Those streets are tiny, and then these medians would show up, and I have never touched more runners' bodies in my entire life. For me, they're talking about making it a 2-day event, which would
Crazy.
make sense.
It
because
wouldn't make sense, but crazy.
yeah, and I don't know how they would do that with volunteers. It's because being a volunteer
Money.
for races is harder than actually running it. So if anyone's ever served on a race committee or served a race, that's the harder part. So I don't know, but I did not like this. The crowded. That
Okay.
freaked me out. I really felt like I'm on a trip. Someone's elbowing me. Like it just was too. It was way too crowded. But yes, the people showed up. The crowd energy. It was from start to finish. And I think the neatest part, I was at the red start area, so I never saw this in any race ever, including a tiny hometown 5K. These people were around the start corral, like the entire way around for quite a distance, several hundred feet, clapping us out. Like
Mhm.
I've never seen that in my life. So that's a big memory. And then we passed a church and they were on the bells playing Chariots of Fire. So I'm like, oh my
Oh,
God.
that's awesome.
So yes, there was a lot to love about that race. I just feel like you need a few less people in it.
I do hear so you were in New York in 2014? I
Yes.
feel like that is unfortunately running a major these days because I don't remember it was crowded, but it was not sardine crowded back in
Yeah.
2013 and even in
Agreed.
2017. It's
No,
been post-COVID marathoning
it's
where it's different, and what irks me to a T is, like, I don't care if people hate me for
say it,
saying this.
say it, say it,
People
girl, say
people
it.
people doing this while they're running. I'm like, is nothing sacred anymore? Is nothing is sacred? Put your phone in your pocket. You don't need to film yourself. And, like, I get it. You do, like, there's this whole thing now around,
Social
like,
media has kind of
influencing
wrecked
running
running.
and social media and all of it, and, oh my god, we could go down such a rabbit hole, but I think that's
Yes,
part of it is, like, I think the accessibility of running is so important because truly anyone could go out and do it, and there's such I don't know, there's nothing like runner's high.
there's
Like,
nothing like it.
it just gives you can be all of these versions of yourself in your head and then go back to your regular life, and
Yeah.
I don't know, it feels like anything's possible.
It's so hard to explain that to people. And you were talking about how you got into running. I got into running because A, I was afraid of the ball. Like volleyball, I didn't like my fingers being bent back. I was, I just, just afraid of the ball. Didn't want to get kicked in the soccer. But I
Same.
liked movement. Oh, I could not make a cheerleading team to save my life. And I tried, but ask them. There's no coordination here. So there was one, it was kind of like your thing. The PE teacher, sixth grade said, there's a 1 mile fun run at the park. I'm like, all right, I'll do it. I mean, I came in ninth out of like 60 kids. I'm like, oh, I can run.
I
This is
love it.
great. And back then, it was a very cheap sport. You needed shoes and a decent bra. And you could run in like you really can run in it. It's great that we have better materials now, but you could run in anything. As long as you had some decent shoes, you could do it on the cheap. And that helped my situation too.
I think it's so important, like, hearing though, like, we need this push sometimes from external sources, hearing your PE teacher, my health teacher turned track coach, but I also think it's semi-funny how we're talking about the accessibility of running, and, like, all you need is a pair of shoes and a good bra, and yet, how has this hobby become so expensive?
It did.
There's
Overnight,
the
because now we have to
Garmin, the
make
gels,
watches,
the
the
gear,
gels,
the sunglasses, the hat, the sweat wicking material, the
yep,
super shoes, all of it,
all of it, all of it. So
all of it.
try to stick with the basics. I have a few splurges, but I try to stick with the basics. I wear running shirts that I just got from a race. Like I do not buy running clothes, shorts,
Say
but
I've
otherwise
I've
I
I've
don't spend a lot. And good
dwindled
socks.
significantly.
I do
Good
like a
socks,
good
yes.
sock. Yes.
Tell me
So
about qualifying and running for Boston. That is so impressive.
it's the best. Like like you were talking about growing up as a kid and hearing about New York City Marathon and from your teacher, and like that's on my bucket list. And I can remember our cross country coaches just talking about Boston and the lure and the lore and all of the traditions. And it's like, well, I'll never, I, as a child, I did not have a whole lot of confidence. Let's just put it that way. So, but you dream about it and you think you never know, maybe someday, sure, whatever. So fast forward, I ran Chicago. We were talking about Chicago in 2013. And I tell you, Claire, as God is my witness, I didn't really do any speed work. I did some pace training what I thought would be like a marathon pace. I ended up running this crazy fast time. I don't know how. I don't know. I have no, but I was like 3 minutes away from qualifying for Boston at that time. So obviously now it just keeps all that.
Mhm.
So that was the first time I thought, wait a minute, I might be able to do this. So it took me a few races to do it, but I finally did it in because I knew I wasn't going to qualify in New York City. Way too crowded to try to do a BQ on a course like that. That was for fun. So Richmond Marathon, if you need a BQ, people, I have 3 BQs at the Richmond Marathon course because here's why. It's usually perfect weather. It feels like a big city race. Like there's a lot of people, there's a lot of support, but you still have a ton of, like you can hit your pace and do your job and get it done without having to constantly weave. There's some hills, but nothing that's going to knock you out. What was the other thing about it? There's a couple things about it. It's just such a perfect course. So 3 BQ, so 2015, go to Richmond. My husband comes, the kids are there. I have friends and family that live in Richmond. I'm like, I know I'll have the crowd support of my own. They had Mountain Dew waiting for me at like mile 22. I'm like, I need some cold Mountain Dew.
Love it.
So I got it done and it was only by like a minute and a half or something like that. So I got in for 2017 and that was just it was just running nerd heaven. It is the start to finish because everyone there is wearing their Boston stuff and I didn't wear my jacket yet because I'm one of those people until I finish that
Same.
finish line, I will not put that jacket on. I will not wear the shirt.
Yes.
So they're all walking, and I was like, I can't wait to wear my jacket and everything. Their medals and the shopping and just all the whole city is just decked out for 4 or 5. It's like a week, I think now that it's like a
Mhm.
holiday week. So
It is.
it's just the best. And then I qualified again at Richmond in 2018 for 2020. Oh, right. So it's like a month out. We're into our 18 milers and the stupid virus is around. I'm like, oh. What the way they did it though was kind of weird because I thought they would have said, okay, when we reopen and have the race again, which ended up being 2021, I thought they would give us registered people first dibs, kind of so to speak. But
Mhm.
they
Mhm.
basically said you have an option to run it virtually, which no, thank you, or get your money back
Mm.
or roll the dice and put your name back in the hat. I'm like, all right. But somehow the qualifying time went from whatever it was, 2 minutes and something to 7 and like almost 8 minutes. I'm like, well,
Mhm.
that didn't seem fair. But it doesn't matter. I qualified again, got to run in 2025. And now I've kind of made peace with Boston. I've been there twice. It's awesome. It's wonderful. But now I want to do some other stuff. I'm going to go
Mhm.
to Boulder, Colorado in the fall, run in the Rockies. Yeah, crazy.
Marathon?
Yeah, it's the
Wow. That's
Boulderthon.
altitude.
So I'm not too worried about that, but yes. And because I'm in Florida, we call it heat training, poor man's altitude training, right? So,
Okay.
and anytime we've gone on ski trips or other trips in the summer out west and we've been there, I've never had a trouble running. So I think I'll be okay. But okay. I'm kind of just doing it for fun to do something prettier with more elbow room and just
This
something different.
this conversation is lighting a little fire in me. So I had entry to last year's marathon, but I was 6 months postpartum, so I deferred it to this year, New York. Each kid I've gotten back and I've gotten back faster. And I this 3rd one, though, kicking me in the butt, and it's not kicking me like, I am so much more busy now. I
So
started the
that's why.
podcast, I'm trying to build a business, I'm working, I'm doing so much more now outside of running, whereas before, running was my one and only extracurricular. I would wake up, I'd go for my run, I'd see my friends, I'd have time to eat as much as you need to be a high endurance
Oh, yeah.
athlete and running and all the stuff that comes with it, and sleep enough, and I have not been able to figure out that balance coming back. I'm supposed to be doing a 10K next weekend, the mini women's 10K. And this is like sometimes I do this to myself of like I push the envelope of procrastination. Like we're coming up on June. And if I want to run a marathon in November, like
Oh, yeah. You gotta get
I gotta
going.
get going. And I'm just trying to, like, be really honest with myself of, do I have training for a marathon in me right now? Or do I just need to accept this phase of life of maxing out at maybe a 10K and get back into running for an hour and feeling really comfortable running for an hour and then adding a marathon in? I think there's a little bit of, like, similar, like you said, like, didn't have a ton of confidence as a runner. Really? up until, like, adulthood and having kids and getting like, learning how to get better at it and actually trying to get better at it, and when I did try, like, I did start getting close of saying, "I wanna set the goal." I always said, like, I could never run Boston because, like, the times were just too far away, and then I had, like, a 25-minute PR for working with a coach in one race, and I was like, "Okay, well, if I could get 25 minutes off, I could probably get 18 more minutes off if I kept compounding on this." Now I feel like it's like I would love to run Boston, but it feels like one of those races for me personally
Yeah.
that I have to qualify for. Like, I think it's the
Yeah,
only
oh,
race
totally.
that I wouldn't do the
Yeah,
fundraising, the charity route, and I
I get
did London by fundraising, I did New York by fundraising, I fundraised for other races, I plan to do Tokyo by fundraising, but just because of
I know.
bought you know, you're like,
Any
there's this
runner
whole argument on
listening
the internet right
totally
now of, I'm like,
understands
there's
what
n I so appreciate the charity runners. It's the goal and the personal
Yep,
achievement for me
yeah,
would be in getting the qualification time and the
100%.
merit-based I don't wanna mix my words here, but you
No,
know what I'm trying to say, like
I know, I totally get it, I totally get it, and I don't think it disparages the charity runners because I think they love so much what they're doing, like, they love their charity, they believe in it, they love it, and, hey, this is gonna give me a great opportunity that I might not ever would have had, so God bless them, it's a wonderful thing. But I hear you. Like, and when you're kind of close, you're like, like even in London. So I was not fast at all because I felt like I was stop go. I felt like a 26-mile fartlek. Honestly, it was a stop go, stop go, stop go. But I pulled over to talk to my husband. When I was one of those annoying people, I did take a few pictures like on Tower Bridge and a couple spots with Big Ben, but that was it. But so I wasted a good bunch of time thinking I'm not going to be Q at this race. I'm not going to PR at this race. But when I deduct the time I spent farting around, I would have been pretty close. I still
yeah.
like, I'm like, "Maybe I should try for one more week." But
It
you have to
has
pick
this
your
they get
race.
this
That's the
bad
different you're not
pull
gonna
on
be
us.
cute at New York anyway. So if you run New York, you have to do that as kind of your comeback race and just do it for fun, no pressure, but just do it because you love it. Because you don't have to really start training until probably after July 4th, right? So you've got time.
Yeah, I could
You've got time. So
I could
don't take it off the list yet because the other thing is at this age, I feel like I have to do it. So I don't know, don't tell me your age, but at 54, I feel like I'm not going to say no to anything anymore. Like if
mhm,
I'm asked to do something, I'm going. And I know
yeah.
I'm still young and I have a ton of, I'm healthy and all of that, but I don't want to miss anything. So if there's an opportunity, my vote is go do it. But just train way easier for this. And then pick your BQ race totally separate.
Everyone is on their own journey, and so, like, I don't if no one cares about your time as much as you do,
Nobody
and
does.
the only like, all you should do is get out there and cross the finish line.
And that's why my vote is still if you're feeling pretty healthy, you don't have any major energy, injuries, and you can come up with the time. So a couple of summers ago, I was training for the Wine Glass Marathon in Corning because my
Have you done you
dad
did it?
still, what's that?
You did it?
Yes, I've done it twice. It's
Okay, how was it?
beautiful. It's so beautiful, and that town is so darn cute, and it's not too far from my dad and his wife, so it's kind of a two bird, one stone thing. Like I'll go run the race and go visit my dad. Da da da. But that summer, and I'm used to running in the summer and training in the summer of Florida. It's hot. It is no freaking joke. But that one, for some reason, I was just dying, like dying. It was 2024. So I finally said, you know what? I'm not going to not run, but I decided to just look up easier training plans. And I just dialed everything way back and said, it's not going to be a BQ. I'm just going to have fun. Go see my dad, go see the Glass Museum in Corning, and it was great. It was just fun. Oh, and Alexi Papa, I don't know how you say her last name, Papa or
Yeah,
Papas. Yeah, she was the guest speaker at the pasta night the night before the race.
I love
So
her.
that alone was worth it. She was adorable. She was so funny. So you meet some fun people, you have a good time, whatever.
I
So
love the running community.
it's the best. But that's the other advantage of getting older is because you really stop. Like I remember like being so like caring
Mhm.
about it, but now it's like just have fun, keep getting out there.
I think this is, like, bringing us back to the beginning of the conversation, such a great parallel to motherhood too, because I think especially as first-time moms and throughout motherhood journeys, we have this comparative standard to what? Like, what are like It's okay to take the easy training plan. It's okay if your house is messy because you spent time at the playground all afternoon with your kids. It's just like the parallels between motherhood and running are so vast and intersected too for me. Like, it's just like I've done this hard thing in running and pushing my body, and I've done this hard thing with my kids and this phase that they're going through. And it's just this, like, compounding confidence, I feel like, that both help build us up.
1000%. And one of my, I don't do mantras really, but one of my mottos is comparison is the thief of joy. I'm so happy we didn't have social media when I was a young, younger mom. Like I would have lost it. I think we're just doing the best we can. You read the book because we had books, so I'd read the books and try to do all the stuff. But oh my gosh, I just did not want to become so precious about every little thing. Just have fun with your kid. Just get out. Just do stuff. Whatever works for you. I have a quote in my book that says, "We're all in the same race. We're just wearing different shoes. Like we're trying to raise healthy, happy kids. Like who cares how one person does it and the other person does it this way? So what? Just your way doesn't have to be perfect. Just keep showing up."
Just keep showing up. Sheila, I do not want to end this conversation without hearing about the book you wrote several years ago and have recently published. Share with us a little bit about where the desire, the need, like what brought you to writing the book and what brought you to publishing it now.
So I always liked writing, especially in graduate school. I used to, man, when I had a paper, I loved it. And when I was in college missions, I would be touring the libraries and the different rooms, and I would say, "Gosh, someday I hope I have a book on a shelf somewhere. I would love to write a book someday." Da, da, da. So it's been always kind of been there, lurking around. Moms have all these dreams that are kind of lurking in our bellies. But I remember it was probably the year of Chicago or New York where when you were saying before, the parallels between running and motherhood, they just kept coming into my mind. Because when you're running, you have so much time to think. And I don't really wear music when I run. I know people, nobody believes me when I say that. So I would come home and I'd write down all these little notes about like the glycogen depletion, negative splits. You know what that means. Post race party, entertainment on the course, and how so I just kept writing all these little notes and I came up with all of these chapters and I would start fleshing it out. So I wrote it. I had a pretty good first draft and I worked on that. And did start querying agents in like 2015. I didn't know what I was doing. Honestly, I didn't know what I didn't know. But a couple of them said, "Oh, I like this idea, but I have something similar." And then, the other 150 you never hear from. So I'm like,
Mhm.
it just kind of sat in the laptop, whatever. Someone in 2018 said, "You should self-publish." I'm like, "I don't know. I don't know tech." I'm like, "I don't know what that means." So kind of brushed that aside. But I finally started lurking in these writing and self-publishing Facebook groups. And I'm like, oh, I just kept watching their questions and reading the answers and listening to podcasts about writing. And I said, that's it. So this fall, that was one of my things. I'm like, all right, this is it. Can I get an editor? He's like, please, yes, I want you to get this done. Like he's been around for so long. So we did it. I just went through one step at a time, sometimes in tears. Like I don't know how to upload. I don't know how to buy an ISBN number, but I had to just get it out. And I feel like A, it's a super fun book, and B, I can't believe how much stuff I learned in the process of getting from point A to point B. I can't believe what I've learned. It's shocking. Things that I didn't know I could learn. And then the people you meet, like just meeting your friend Amanda down the street. I've made like 5 new friends just going to sell books at different places. It's been the time of my life. And I just would end by saying, moms, I know if you still have young ones, it's hard to get all those dreams out of your system, but don't let them go because you don't want to miss out on what's behind those dreams, things that you don't see coming.
I love that encouragement so much. Tell people the name of the book and where they can find it.
Miles of Motherhood, the funny and heartwarming comparison between running and being a mom. It's on all of the .coms. Every .com site it is available on.
Amazing. I cannot wait to get my hands on a copy.
Thank you.
Sheila, this conversation has been better than a cup of coffee this morning. Thank you so much for coming on the show, for sharing your story, talking about the parallels between motherhood, where you were as a new mom to where you are now as an empty nester. I love the note of positivity, as I said several times. I love a peek ahead. And this really, I think, help will give women in my generation, when we're still in the early phases of motherhood, how we can prepare, how we can use the skills we already have to go with us And then also tying in the fun and what fills our cup, and honestly, geeking out about running, it's giving me a boost. I'm putting it I am going to get my run in tomorrow morning. It's probably just gonna be 3 miles, but I'm gonna do it, and we'll see what happens in November.
Perfect. I love it. Oh, congratulations. Thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun. It's been
I
fun being on this side of it because I'm listening to you all the time.
I love it. Well, Sheila, we'll stay in touch, and hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of The Catch Up with Claire. If you did, I would so appreciate if you subscribe, follow, rate, and comment wherever you're listening from. Share it with someone else you think might enjoy listening. This is how I can continue to have these conversations and bring these conversations to you. Until next time, be kind, be brave, and be safe out there.